This is Future Sense Now, where we explore the landscape and byways of our shared futures. Future Sense Now is brought to you by the Futures Forum. Stay tuned for a journey to the future.
Greetings and salutations, and we are celebrating UN International Day for Women and Girls in Science. And we are continuing our conversation series with Merafelina Chotoo, who is an aviation expert, and she will be telling us more about her life in her new position there in the UK at Collins Engineering. But let's go right in. Merafelina is an engineer, as I said, in aviation space at Collins. So I believe it's Collins Aerospace. I'm almost sure about it. Right.
Yep.
All right. So we begin with our first of our 5 questions, asking you, what is your vision for accelerating the participation of leadership of women and girls in science, engineering, and emerging fields such as space and sustainability?
Great question. So being Trinidadian, I always go back to Trinidad. I always go back to my roots. It starts off with here, every creed and race find an equal place. And I believe that, I feel that I want to bring everyone up. I believe that everyone's differences make us stronger. And I believe in bringing that out in people when people think differently in the workplace, challenging norms, challenging status quos. I encourage that, and I allow women, allow people of different backgrounds to express themselves fully, to be comfortable. And I think that's how it starts in those settings, with these new grads, with these new hires, when they come in and they have all of these great ideas. It's important to encourage that and to keep that flowing, because I feel like sometimes the industry can make us all seem like we have to just be a machine and crank out numbers. And I think that it's important to grow individualistic ideas, and that is how we bring women of color, everyone with different backgrounds up together.
Yeah. So we're talking about our vision as somebody who's been in the industry for quite some time. I believe it's over 10 years, right? Am I correct?
Well, actually, I've been in the industry for 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. But I started my aviation journey when I was 18 in Trinidad. We had the Trinidad and Tobago Civil Aviation Academy, and that's how I started. So this was I don't know, back in maybe 2014. So yeah, it's been 12 years since I started, since I figured out that I wanted to be in aviation or aerospace and in science. And I think since that time, that's when I realized that was going to be my journey, and that I would be here, and that I would encourage people to also pursue that, because I recognize how important it is for us, especially in the Caribbean, to embrace STEM and to encourage that scientific train of thought.
Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go to your philosophy. You started pretty young. You kind of followed your nose, so to speak. But how does your philosophy affect your approach now to empowering young women in STEM and building their confidence, resilience, and leadership capacity? We met through NSBE, so I think that's one of maybe that's the only one of places you serve. But how does your philosophy shape your approach?
Yeah. And so, like I mentioned, so in Trinidad, you have so much diverse backgrounds, and you grow up hearing constantly, it's our differences that make us stronger. In the Caribbean, you hear out of many, one. And to just think about that, to hear that constantly, I want to bring that into the workplace. I want to encourage those ideals, encourage those mindsets, and lots of mentorship. So I'll talk a little bit more about what I do. So I am a senior test and validation engineer at Collins Aerospace. And that involves testing new models, new designs on that have to go on aircraft, to make sure that it's safe, that it's compliant, that it meets the regulations. I also train different teams around the world, so in the Philippines, in the US, in the UK, in India. And so I have a lot of mentees that I try to encourage, to bring up, to make sure that their voices are heard, that they are seeing this woman of color, leading and bringing them up and encouraging them to have their own thoughts, and that their thoughts are valuable too. And so in that way, I'm trying to encourage everyone to move up and bring each other up while they move up. And then to add to that, so I'm trying to relate aviation and space. And I think it's synonymous to maybe the Challenger disaster. The Challenger disaster happened 1986, when an O-ring failed because of colder weather conditions. Similarly, my job is to make sure that our O-rings don't fail. That's the importance of testing, test engineering. And the value of speaking up, the value of speaking out, the value of leading. And I believe that everyone of all different backgrounds, does not matter the technical training, the technical proficiency, once you are willing to try and you are willing to learn. Because I feel like lots of people, especially in the Caribbean, they put themselves down a lot, and they are so capable, they are so intelligent, they are so forward thinking, that it's amazing to see. And I think that they don't give themselves enough credit, and that's what I try to push.
Well, certainly we need to have all hands on deck when you're talking about designing aircraft and making sure they're functional. So, when you think about girls, what are some of the barriers you think they're facing when they want to pursue careers today? And what are some of the steps that you're taking to help remove those barriers?
Yeah, of course. And it's all about visibility as well, right? And I feel like when you see it, you believe it. When I see, I can. And so I try to not only have mentees and participate in mentorship programs, participate in engineering days for girls, women in aviation. I try to make sure that there is a space that men also see it as well, because when it's not enough that they are seeing me, but they also need to know that that they need to make space for me as well. And it's me being comfortable with my own voice, my own space, my own thoughts. It's me commanding a room, standing up for myself, knowing what is right, speaking out, and paving the way for the woman that come after me.
Mm-hmm.
And encouraging that train of thought as well, and correcting things that need to be corrected, because I feel like I'm usually in the environment where I am the only woman, I am the only woman of color. And so it's important that I have my own voice, that I'm able to use it, and able to use it in such a manner that also brings people up, and that also makes space for people, and also corrects people when things are not okay.
Yeah, I feel where you're going with that.
Mhm.
So, I just said you're building basically big aircraft engines, you're managing these international teams. And of course, even though one might say that the design of such things are done, they're really never done. There's always something
Mhm. Oh
between.
yeah.
So when you think
Yes.
about that and think about this question, why is it important that women and girls play a major role in, I'm going to put here both aviation and space science and technologies,
Yes.
um, because of the need to support the development as humanity moves towards becoming a spacefaring species. We
Mm.
want to focus on making sure we're supporting peaceful uses of space as
Mm.
well as sustainable development. Why is it important that women and girls are playing a role in these sciences, engineering and aviation science, space science, and
Yeah.
engineering?
Women bring so much to the table, not only in their intelligence, their technical skills, but their ability to communicate with each other, communicate technical things very easily. I am consistently blown away by the women in my department who are able to articulate very complex designs, very complex processes, um, and and also put maybe like heated discussions aside to focus on the task at hand, um, and communicate so well. Women I think that's a very huge overlooked skill: communication, how to communicate with each other. Because without communication, without the ability to connect the dots with other people, then we cannot get anything done. And in order to succeed, in order to expand, we need to be able to communicate different ideas. And I think that's where women excel. They're able to grasp topics very quickly and articulate that very clearly. And I've seen that time and time and time again. Yeah. That I think that's one of women's strongest aspects.
Yeah, because I guess one of the things I've been told, women know how to multitask and think about three things at once.
Yeah.
So finally, when you think about the girls you are mentoring and others
Mhm.
around the world that you are yet to mentor, because now you're
Mhm.
working in 3 or 4 countries plus your own home country, so there's a lot of people you have the opportunity to do lives to touch.
Mhm.
What message would you want to leave with these young girls who dream of becoming like you, an engineer? You know, they look at you and you're not that far in age difference from them as a test engineer, managing people, managing global teams. Want to become an engineer or a scientist or an astronaut? And what
Mhm.
kind of partnerships do you think you could make, either in the NGOs that you work with or even in your company, to sort
Mhm.
of help to create this space for the girls that you are mentoring?
Mhm. So I'll start off with the first question. The advice that I would have is to not be afraid of failure, to chase failure, to welcome failure, to try and try and try and keep trying until you succeed, until you get to where you need. Because I think women, we are scared of failure. We are scared to fail because we are scared of the repercussions, and we don't try because of that. And
Yes.
so I think that's where men excel. They run headfirst, and they're like, okay, yeah, let's go. And women are like, well, what are the consequences? Like, let's think about this. And we sit and we think, and we don't act. We need to act. We need to we need to welcome failure, welcome the challenge. So that's one. Welcome failure. Two, be comfortable in your own voice. Be comfortable listening to yourself. Be comfortable trusting yourself, trusting your instincts. I am constantly around. Every day my integrity comes into question, having to maybe push through designs that may not be ready due to maybe budget or timelines. And so trusting yourself, trusting your gut, trusting your mind, trusting your voice is so imperative in my industry. So trusting yourself, you have to get accustomed to trusting yourself, trust hearing yourself talk. And then the last thing is just having a mentor who's done it, who's been through it. Reaching out, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to be a bother, because that's how we learn. We've been through it. I've been through it. You've been through it. I've made so much mistakes, and I wish that I had someone like me when I was my age. And I welcome any woman and anyone who has any questions to just come and ask. All you have to do is ask. So those are the three things. What I think, so the second thing that you ask, what I think that I can do in my company, what the company can do, I think we do a really good job with outreach, but there's always so much more, like especially in the Caribbean, we can always do so much more outreach and community advocacy, and showing women, young ladies, tangible things that they can say, yes, I see myself in her. This can probably be for me. And maybe one of the things that we can do is having those communities, having those safe places to talk, safe places to grow, safe places to make mistakes and not be judged, and push ourselves, all of ourselves, up together. I think that's probably one of the things that I would encourage, having that safe space to talk at all different levels, whether it be maybe in high school, in college, and being a new hire, and later having all different levels of mentorship that we can all talk and ask those stupid questions. I think that's what we could probably do better.
Well,
good questions.
Well, actually, I mean, it's a really good place to look at on reflection. I mean, this is a work in progress. Science is always changing, technology is always changing, engineering is always changing. And companies like yours, I think, do have an opportunity, being as large as you are, to impact things at scale. Certainly in the UK where you are, there's opportunities, and I hope to spend some time with you exploring some of the people I've met in the UK that you may be able to network with and get some programs done with girls there.
Yeah.
We are there as well. So I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk to me and close out your day in UK a little bit later than we are. But you have some couple hours left to think about what it means to be a woman working in science, engineering, and technology. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nelson. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for being a mentor to me too.
Take care.
Take care.
Wait, and may the force be with you.
Thank you. Okay.
You have been listening to Future Sense Now, brought to you by the Futures Forum. For more, please visit www.thefuturesforum.org. Thank you for listening. Spread the word. Share the future.